My name is Michael Marfo. I'm a senior, and you're watching Everyday Titan.
You'll really want to tune in for this one. Hey Titans, today is April 6th. I'm Gab Hendy, and today is Fired Up Friday. I hope you guys are representing your class colors. Of course, you can catch me wearing blue because you know I'm a junior. And remember, we are still collecting pictures from Spear Week, so please send them to tctitantv@gmail.com. Today is a particularly special episode of Everyday Titan because right here in the studio of TC's own Jay Falk for a live interview with my wonderful co-host, Eddie Kaiser. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Anyways, let's get right into the announcements because I'm looking forward to this fantastic show. To continue celebrating Autism Awareness Month, let's hear our Autism Awareness tidbit of the day. There are different theories about what causes autism, but currently no one knows exactly what causes it. We will be sharing more fascinating facts about autism, just like this one, throughout the month of April to help everyone understand it better. If you were sad about the library closing for testing this week, don't worry. They've still got some activities and contests going on. Stop by the library during lunch to join in on the awesome celebration. If you wanted to check out a book while the library is closed, fill out this form to request a book. They'll bring the book to you. Use the link below. TC, don't forget about the student versus staff soccer game happening today. It's happening in Mini Howard at 5 p.m. Be there or be perfectly fine because you know you're your own person and you're not obligated to go anywhere, but you'd also be square. If you're interested in taking a Spanish for Heritage Speakers course for the school year 2018-2019, the requirement placement test will be offered on April 11th, 8:30 a.m. at the Rotunda. You may sign up in B206 with Miss Harina or F902 with Miss De Fritas.
Si estás interesado en tomar un curso de español para hispanohablantes durante el año escolar 2018 o 2019, comunícate con la señora Helena en el salón B206 o con la señora de Fritas en el salón F902, antes del 10 de abril. El examen se va a dar el miércoles 11 de abril a las 8:30 en la Rotunda.
The Saturday Learning Academy is now open to all Titans. Students, do work, get help from a tutor, and prepare for the SOLs. Starting this Saturday, the SLA will have math SOL prep courses. It's held at the King Street campus from 9 a.m. to 12. Do you want to be your next class's president? Do you want to have a greater influence on your peers? Do you want to run for student government? If so, come pick up an application packet on Monday, April 9th in the cafeteria or main office during all lunches. Ever wanted to play ultimate frisbee? Come to the George Mason Elementary School field today after school. It will start at 3:45. And now, let's take a look at what's going on this weekend in sports. Only 70 days left until graduation, seniors. All right, Titans, the moment you've been waiting for. Now it's time for our interview with Jay Falk. She's here to discuss a couple of topics of serious importance. Let's hand it off to my great co-host, Eddie Kaiser.
Thanks, Gab. As you all know, this past February 14th, there was a mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, leaving 17 dead and more injured. In response to this, students across the nation have sparked protests against weak gun control legislation. They have decided to speak up to make sure decisions are being made to protect their lives and using their voices to try and make a difference in the war on guns. Students here at TC have joined the fight, staging a walkout in protest of the convenience of guns and in the memory of the 17 killed. They also joined students from all over the country to participate in the Walk for Our Lives march in Washington, D.C. Here now is a leading activist for the cause at TC, Jay Falk. How are you doing, Jay?
Doing well. How about
Doing
yourself?
well? All right, let's get straight into the first question. So what are your thoughts on how the students at TC responded to these series of protests?
I think the students at TC are already activists. They're ready to make an impact on the world around them, and they saw this as an issue that they really care about, and so they started to stand up.
So what do you think triggered this resurgence of involvement from students?
I think that we look at the students in Parkland and we see students that look very similar to us. They're high school students, they're going about their daily lives, and suddenly this tragedy happens. So it hits really close to home. And we specifically, as high school students, are really scared of gun violence and scared of gun violence happening in our schools, in our communities. So it's an issue that makes sense for us to stand up on.
So there has been a lot of proposed solutions to this problem.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering how you feel these solutions will work or if they won't work.
One thing I think that is very inspiring and gratifying about working on an issue like anti-gun violence efforts is that there are so many good, well-researched policy proposals. And I mean, it's almost to the point where there's a laundry list, all that are very, very well backed by evidence. But I'll just say some of the ones that are really key. Universal background checks. We have so many loopholes that make getting a gun without a background check very easy. That needs to stop now. Red flag laws. These are laws that make sure that if you have a family member or a friend that you know is in crisis, that isn't saying dangerous things, a judge can take away their guns for a short amount of time to make sure that they're not going to commit violence when they're having this breakdown. Raising the age to 21. This means that people who are young and more prone to violence, the last couple mass shooters have been under 21, would not have access to guns. And that's just a few. There are dozens of common sense gun legislation that none of which even threaten to take away guns from law-abiding citizens, but all of which will protect lives.
Okay. And then what inspired you particularly to join this movement?
I mean, I think I was struck by the same thing every student who was involved in the walkouts and the march were struck by, which is, I don't want to die. I'm scared, right? I'm terrified that this kind of epidemic of gun violence is going to come to our community. And I am deeply emotionally affected by the stories of these students who are losing friends and family. It genuinely, it's scary. It's terrifying. And for me, as with every, I think, activist on this issue, we don't want to lose ourselves and we don't want to lose our family members to gun violence. It's simple.
All right, so now what are the next steps to achieving your goal? What do you plan on doing in the future?
Yeah, so we actually have a town hall with local politicians coming up on April 16th. It's going to be a little bit of a drive away, about 10 minutes, in VA District 11. And that's the first thing that we have coming up. We also have a big plan for voter registration drives throughout Northern Virginia. We're partnering with Inspire US to do nonpartisan student-led peer-to-peer voter registration in schools throughout Northern Virginia that haven't yet had drives. And I know we recently just had one at TC Williams where we registered over 400 new students to vote. So these kinds of things work. They get people out to vote. And they show that they start civic engagement now, and then it goes throughout the rest of their lives.
Okay, well, that's everything we have for you today. Thank you so much for answering your questions.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks to Jay for those insightful answers. To see the full interview, you can visit Everyday Titans' YouTube page. Remember, Titans, it's important to stay involved in our current world more so than ever, and be a part of the solution going forward. Well, that's all we have for you today. Hope you enjoyed this special interview. And remember, keep the conversation alive, TC. Peace.